I would like to start by welcoming people to this evening's Construction Liaison Forum for plots A1 and A2 of the Canada Water Development. This is the second forum that we've run of its kind, and we thank you for joining us. In terms of what we wish to cover today, I'm going to make some introductions so you know who is presenting as part of this evening's meeting. I'm then going to provide an overview of recent and current works and let you know what's been going on in Surrey Quays Shopping Centre car park over recent weeks. At that point, I'll hand over to Emmeline from Mace and then Ollie from Wates. They'll give you an update in more detail on the construction of plots A2 and A1 of the Canada Water Development. I'll then give you a brief update on jobs and training opportunities, how to find out more, and then I'll wrap up with how we're letting you know about what's going on as part of the development. In terms of who we are this evening, my name's Sarah Ward. I'm the Construction Neighbour Liaison Manager for the Canada Water Development on behalf of British Land. My role is to work with our contractors, of which there are quite a number, and more will come to site over the coming years, to really make sure that we're communicating and liaising with the community in the best way that we can. That includes our immediate site neighbours, the wider community who are passing through the area or using the area for facilities, and those who are just generally interested in what we're up to. In addition, in the event that an issue or a concern or a question arises, I answer it as best as I can, and when I need to, I speak with our contractors and I make sure you get a quick reply, and if there is a concern or an issue, that it is dealt with quickly. Ollie from Wates will speak to you shortly and he will introduce himself then, and the same with Emmeline, who is from Mace. In terms of the location of plots A1 and A2, you will see at the top, A1 is closest to Surrey Quays Road. It will provide a 35-storey building with retail, residential and office space. And you may know if you've passed through the area that works have begun here. Likewise with plot A2, which Mace are building, that includes a new leisure centre for Southwark Council, which is on the ground and basement level. And it also includes retail, food outlets and workspace. The same as plot A1 that Wates are building at the moment. Ground preparation is underway and you will see site activity there now. In terms of the wider Canada Water Development works, you may be aware that the former Rotherhithe Police Station was completed, the demolition was completed in July of this year. Moving down to where the interim petrol station is, you may be aware that that opened in June and is now operating as a fully functioning petrol station. Over to the right-hand side, top of the screen, you have plot K1, which is near Alfred Salter Primary School and off Roberts Close. We expect the construction of that building to begin either later this month or in November, and there are 79 affordable homes being delivered there. If we move down now to Printworks and we just cross over the street there, we've got Goldris working there. They have been for some time, and they're building a basement for a below-ground electricity substation for UKPN. And then moving down right to the right-hand bottom of the screen, you may be aware that Teddy London are now operating a higher education campus. They took their first intake of students and they've been open since last month. Now to talk briefly about the works in Surrey Quays Shopping Centre car park. So first of all, we'd like to thank you for your patience whilst these works have taken place. You may be aware that this week, Mace and Wates have been installing hoarding along Deal Porter's Way and around the rest of their sites, permanent hoarding that will be in place for the duration of the build for plots A1 and A2. You may also be aware that since Monday, the entry-exit point, which is close to Canada Water Library on Surrey Quays Road, Deal Porter's Way Junction, has been exit only. And actually overnight, tonight and tomorrow, it's closed to remove barriers. Again, we thank you for your patience here. That will be reopened, we hope by Saturday, but certainly by the beginning of next week. In terms of pedestrians, of which many pass through the shopping centre car park, you may be aware if you walk through the site that the reopened footpath along the edge of the dock is being used to full effect now. We do still have some barriers in place, and you may see or may have seen that we've got seating still to install, benches. We'll share more on that as soon as we can, but we're expecting that to take place at the beginning of November. And likewise, the final update here is around footpath resurfacing works. At the bottom of plot A2, which is near Hothfield Place, we've been undertaking some resurfacing works there. We've retained access to Hothfield Place, and again, we thank you for your patience whilst the diversion has been in place. Next slide, please. That's brilliant, thank you, Sam. I'd now like to hand over to Ollie, who is going to talk to you about site layout and vehicle access.
Good evening, I'm Ollie Mack. I'm the project manager for Wates Construction, and we'll be undergoing the work of plot A1. I'm going to take you briefly through the logistics for both A1 and A2. As you can see on the image of your screen, the top right plot, which is highlighted, will be the Wates Construction site of A1, and south of that is a plot A2. And the overall logistics is run by a haulage road, which runs between Lower Road and Porters Way. And construction traffic entering via Lower Road, point between us and Mace, will travel up the road, and will exit either left into the Waste construction site or right into Mace. As Sarah's mentioned in the other slides, there's currently a hoarding going up on Porters Way, segregating public traffic and pedestrians from the sites to maintain security throughout the build. And again, construction vehicles leaving both sites will exit via Porters Way onto Surrey Quays Road, turning left. Site personnel for plot A1 will enter via the Lower Road at the bottom of the screen, and there'll be a welfare set up there on the site of the former Rotherhithe police station. And plot A2, site personnel and visitors will enter via Porters Way, which is located at the bottom right of the image you can see. Next slide. I'll now pass over to Emmeline, who will run through plot A2 in a bit more detail.
Thanks, Ollie. Good evening. I'm Emmeline Mail, Community and Skills Manager at Mace, and I'm supporting Neighbourhood Liaison and Communications for plot A2. So we took over the site at plot A2 at the start of October from Calbray, and they continue to work on the site as a subcontractor, with Mace as the principal contractor responsible for delivery here. As Sarah already mentioned, plot A2 will provide some commercial office space, retail and hospitality units, and a leisure centre for Southwark Council, including a swimming pool. So we have a small team on site at the moment, and this will grow over the next couple of months as our site welfare facilities are constructed to the south of the site. These will be fully established by January, and the majority of our project team will be working on site full-time from early next year. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the current activity on the site, we started piling works Monday of last week. Just a brief overview of what that involves is drilling into the ground to create foundations for the structure of the building broadly. So this can result in a little bit of noise, dust, vibration in the immediate vicinity, and we try to mitigate against this as much as practicable. And as we've noted on the slide there, we always operate really strictly within the limits set by Southwark Council. And these are standard across the borough, so they're not any sort of higher or lower for us. And with the technology in place around the site that monitors noise, dust, vibration, measures the levels of this, and it just makes sure that we don't exceed those limits that are set by Southwark. Thank you. Next slide, please. Thanks. So looking ahead, for plot A2, piling works will continue into the new year. We'll start bulk excavation in January as well, and there'll be new plant on site to do this, as well as lorries to remove the excavated materials. We're also erecting tower cranes in February of next year. So they're shown on the 3 green dots on that plan there. And these will be operational throughout construction, so up until 2024. And we've also just briefly mentioned here as well about some of our community engagement activities. Alongside British Land, we'll be delivering initiatives for the duration of our time at Canada Water. And these will include community investment and fundraising and educational activities, as well as engaging local people around skills and employment. Our first initiative is a site visit with students from Bacon's College, which is a local college, and that's organised through the Construction Youth Trust. We'll keep the community up to date with any upcoming activities via our notice board and other Canada Water communication channels. So, it's me, thank you. And I'm just going to hand back to Ollie again to go through plot A1 with you. Thank you.
Emmeline. Okay, so just an overview similar to what Emmeline's presented there for A1. We've commenced on site as of September 21, and our completion date will be October 24. An overview of the project, as you can see, it includes 186 residential apartments over a 35-storey tower, which will include 178 homes for private sale and 8 homes for shared ownership. Following a residential tower, there will also be 3 cores of 6-storey commercial space and retail at the lower levels. There's a shared single basement that will span the whole site between the residential and the commercial blocks. The 4 retail spaces will be the surrounding section of the bottom ground floor. Next slide, please. And upcoming work similar to Mace Wates are currently preparing the foundations for our welfare facilities, which will be located on the former site of the Rotherhithe Police Station, as mentioned previously. We will also begin piling works at the end of October, and it's exactly the same system as the Mace in terms of what we're doing with the piling. And again, it does generate some noise and vibration, and we are again following the same guidance we have from Government Council in terms of environmental monitoring, and we have a joined up approach with Mace and other contractors of how that's managed and monitored. And again, the works are carried out in accordance with the levels that are set. We will also be having 2 tower cranes will be in operation during the construction process, with a 3rd tower crane being used at the early stages of the project that will facilitate the concrete frame and any steelwork installation. This slide just depicts where the welfare facility is going to be located at the old Rotherhithe Police Station, which is at Low Road. This will be a 3-storey cabin setup, which is a temporary cabin setup. And this is where all of the Waits staff and visitors will enter the site via Lower Road. And again, to limit the impact we're having on the community, we're having no parking at all, and we have supply chain and our staff themselves to use public transport, or where possible bicycles, etc., to get to the office and get to work. I'll now pass back over to Sarah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ollie. Thank you to you both for that in terms of providing more detail. I just wanted to talk a little bit now about our common working practices, and that's really around our working hours and our environmental monitoring. So we're working standard construction working hours in Canada Water. So that's Monday to Friday between 8 and 6. And then on a Saturday between 8 and 2, no noisy works before 9. We do try and avoid Saturday working as far as practical. In terms of communicating where things may happen out of hours, so that might be delivery of a large machine, for example, that's required under police escort at a particular time of day, usually to avoid peak periods, or when construction activity is such that once it's started, it can't stop. And these are rare occasions, but it does happen on occasion. We do update our working hours post, which is on our website. We are conscious that not everyone has access to the internet. So as far as we can, we use our site signage as well, so people will see that if they're passing. We provide advance warning if we can in writing through newsletters and so on and so forth, particularly for our immediate neighbours. And if we're affecting a large number of people, we would share it on our social media channels as well. So that would tend to be on Twitter and Facebook. In terms of our environmental monitoring, so Ollie and Emmeline have talked about this already quite a bit, so I'll keep this brief. But essentially across the development area, we have agreed an approach with the local authority, which is Southwark Council, and also informed by really robust industry standards as to how we measure dust, noise and vibration levels. And essentially we've got live monitoring equipment all over the site in terms of where live construction is taking place. And what happens is if site activity, be it dust, noise or vibration, reaches a level that isn't acceptable or it is coming close to that, then the team on site will receive an immediate notification, at which point they will take action to make sure that the levels reduce and we stay within what is approved. So it really is a live process that is handled by the site teams. Next slide, please. Just wanted to wrap up by talking a little bit about jobs and training opportunities. So there will be more of these as construction develops. But certainly for now, we would just ask that anyone who would like to register for our updates or hear more around the jobs and training opportunities that are provided as part of this development activity would just get in touch with us. We're happy to talk you through it. There's more information on our website. I know for certain that there are some live job adverts out at the moment for Mace, and they're detailed there on the screen. We will be sending specific job related emails to those that have signed up, which coincides with British Land's commitment to create sustainable employment for those who live in the local area. Next slide, please. And just bringing this evening's meeting now to a close, we're always keen to learn from the community on how you want to receive information. And we're always mindful of those who want information online, want it in live time, want to be able to watch it back, and those who don't have access to the internet or actually just don't, want to attend a Zoom or, may have low internet speeds or limited access or whatever that might be. So very keen to hear feedback on how you wish to be kept informed. In terms of what we've got coming up, so the date will be advertised shortly and location, but Wates and Mace will be making themselves available in an informal setting at a location at a set time each month, where the community can come along, have a hot drink or a cold drink, bite to eat and ask questions. So informal, a conversation. And we will be advertising that via our e-newsletter on our website and again via site signage. We also have our quarterly printed newsletter. The second one we issued just last month, providing a whole raft of information about development activity on the site. And again, we're keen to hear from people around the level of detail, the way we're describing things, but hopefully we're providing information in an accessible way. I also mentioned our e-newsletter. You can get in touch with us if you don't receive that. We issue those on a regular basis, at least monthly. They're a really good tool that we have at our disposal to just get messages out very quickly if we need to, and that includes around construction activity as well as the broader project. I mentioned our website. I've mentioned social media, so we're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, so a whole range of ways that people can get involved. Our contact details are there as well, and they're online for those who need them. I would like to wrap up now just by saying thank you for joining and good evening, and we'll now go to questions.